Hello, parents. My name is Paul Lepore. I'm making this video as a reprise of a previous video I sent out a couple weeks back. The only difference is this one needs to be within 10 minutes to fulfill the obligation for the Meet the Teacher conference. So it may go a little faster than the last video that I sent you a couple weeks ago. I always like to start by saying that parents, teachers, and administrators are the three legs in a stool and the three legs in a school that hold students up for support. So let's always communicate with each other. Let's have a back and forth dialogue. If you ever have any questions, comments, or anything like that, please feel free to send me an email. Most importantly, encourage your kids to advocate for themselves and send me an email. Let's have that dialogue back and forth. I'm very reachable. In addition, I'd like to also introduce myself to you. Who is Paul Lepore? I wear many hats here at the school. I'm the social studies department chairperson. I'm the history club advisor. I'm involved in student council. I get involved in a lot of the school committees as well, safety committee, so on and so forth. I'm on the Westchester Lower Hudson Council for Social Studies board, so I stay connected on social studies topics. But my most important job is the same as you. That is the job of a parent. As a matter of fact, I do believe that a parent is a child's first teacher. So, especially now during these times when our kids are looking to us for guidance and advice, kudos to you, not only being a great parent, but being a great teacher. My daughter is in kindergarten, and she's full of inquiry, full of curiosity, and it's a exciting time. It's an exciting time. It's also an exciting time to be a social studies teacher. We're in an election year. Obviously, there are many global events occurring that are worthwhile discussing in class. My goal and my philosophy has largely remained unchanged in my teaching career. That is, my goal being not to teach directly to students. That is, my goal being to teach students how to teach themselves and how to learn. Comes from the old adage, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. My philosophy interfaces with my approach, or the approach that students will take in the class. It's really students' approach. Students will be engaged in inquiry. Students will be engaged in creative projects, project-based learning, collaboration, dialogue, discussion, debate. It's probably a little different than some of us are used to, maybe than some of us experienced when we were in school. I know different than what I experienced when I was in school, where a teacher will stand up and give information for students to write down or take notes on, so on and so forth, where the information goes either from a book or from the board to the notebook, from the board to the notebook, from the board to the notebook, or the book to the notebook, to the book to the notebook, to the book to the notebook, bypassing the brain of both the teacher and the student. That's not the way class is facilitated. And there are, obviously, anytime that, we think outside the box and we're using technology, or anytime that we're doing something creative projects or authentic tasks, it always comes back to people asking, well, what about when we have to take a test, a standardized test, and this and that. This class will track next year into AP World for students, and students are very successful on standardized tests and other things. There are traditional assessments in this class as well, so it is a nice blend. And I like this John Dewey quote: if we teach today as we taught yesterday, then we rob our children of tomorrow. So a lot of the skill sets that students are developing now are skill sets for jobs that probably do not exist yet. So with that said, it's not all technology all the time. Sometimes we do, say, all right, if, especially as we transition into a hybrid model, say we're just going to have a discussion. Let's close the Chromebooks, let's close the computer screens, and let's have a conversation, because those are skill sets that students need to learn as well. So in short, class operates like a well-rehearsed orchestra. It's a place of respect and routine. It's student-centered. I encourage kids to bring their opinions and perspectives and have conversations with each other. I am available on Google Meet and for extra help. So I always encourage students to advocate for themselves. Send me an email if you're struggling, falling behind, if you need help with anything, and let's take advantage of that. There are a lot of choices in the student learning path. When you have a student-centered approach and philosophy, you have to be able to give students choices and autonomy in choosing. And that comes with a lot of the projects, including their National History Day project and other projects as well throughout the course of the year. So there are choices. I do not prescribe homework. That being, students will always have homework or things that they need to do, but it needs to come from them. They need to feel the need to do it. And it's not like I say, okay, I want you to read page 100 to 105 and then answer questions 3 to 7 tonight. That's not the kind of homework that is facilitated in this classroom. That's not to say that students won't read from a textbook, because they will, but it needs to be built into their own workflow. So with that said, it's not like I walk around the room and check homework and say, there's due date. This is you need to do this homework on a nightly basis. But there are due dates, and then there are deadlines, and then there are drop dead dates, right? So I help facilitate that with students as well, and usually through like an activity list or a menu. So encourage your student. Your student should always have something going on. I would say usually have like 2 or 3 things going on, juggling the balls, but I don't want it to become so stressful for students. So if you find that your child is staying up late and too late doing homework or anything like that, please cut them off and know that it's not coming from me in a prescriptive way, because I understand the research, and I understand that, too much homework is not beneficial for students, and that homework needs to be meaningful for students. So if you find your child is stressing about something, please communicate that right away. The grading system operates on a total point grading system. So not all assignments are created equal. Therefore, not all grades are created equal. Not everything is based on 100. So there might be a small quiz that might be worth 10 points. There may be a project that's worth 20 points. There might be a project that's worth 50 points. Oftentimes I have conversations with students about grades. I don't want the grades or the report card to be the boogie monster that comes out and surprises any student. And I encourage students to have those conversations with me, so that this way they understand where their grade is coming from, and really to help guide along the process. As I mentioned before, we do engage in a lot of current events. It is an exciting year to be a social studies teacher. It's an election year. I always say it's an exciting year to be a social studies teacher because there's always something going on, right? So we do also look at current events in the class and discuss those as well. I encourage you to discuss current events at home and have those kinds of dialogues. We look at things from different perspectives and ideologies. We look at things on a global level. So, in terms of not only world history, but in terms of overall learning. Students also use Google Classroom as a learning management system, to turn in work. It's a system that I use as well. I'm fortunate enough to have been a pilot member on Google Classroom many years ago. I was part of an alpha pilot on that. There are 2 central texts that we will be using this year. I don't plan on giving these to the students until we go into hybrid mode, but they are Ways of the World by Robert Strayer. It's an AP level text. It's a very challenging text. And World History by Joseph Ellis. This year we cover 10,000 years of history. It's exciting, but it is definitely a challenge. And as I mentioned, this course next year will track into AP World, the second half of the AP World curriculum. So they will take the AP World exam next year. I know I only had 10 minutes, folks, and I honored the 10 minutes, but there is so much more to say. I could talk to you about National History Day, and more information on that will come as well. And in short, let's just be so awesome together this year. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and it's great to be a partner in your child's education. I consider myself very lucky to be your child's social studies teacher.